Hello, welcome to this episode of The Inner Estate with your host, Bridget Stuart. My guest today is RK Rasos. He is CEO, Rainmaker, founder of Community Warriors in Houston, Texas. RK, thank you for being our guest.
Thanks for having me, Bridget. I'm excited.
I am too. And one of the reasons I'm excited is I believe you have a very compelling story to tell. And it is a story of building block by block your life by design. And if it's okay, I'm going to share with everyone that you're at the age of 30. And by the age of 30, you have already created a multi-million-dollar sales corporation specializing in real estate. And I want everyone to learn about how you've built your life by design. Could you share with everyone how have you done this?
Okay. Well, so I guess to add a little bit of context, I mean, I started this business in real estate. Kind of fell into it, not wanting to really do something that wasn't working at a restaurant, which is what I did before. And I knew eventually that I would want to have a life of freedom and really just had this legacy that I wanted to create for myself, but I didn't really know how to get there. So I guess when you mentioned like life by design, my early 20s or like even my teens before getting into the business at 20 was really just trying to figure out like, what am I going to do? So that way, at the end of the day, for me, is I want to be at the ball games for my kids. I want to be
Hmm.
able to travel and do all those different things. And I knew I wanted to do that when I was younger. So I just had to kind of fill in the blanks from 20 to now, really. So
Right.
I think I think that's when we talk about like life by design. That's where it started for me, is filling in the blanks, but trying to find out what the blank really was. And I guess it ended up being this life with real estate and building the team and selling a bunch of houses and making a bunch of content and helping a bunch of families. And really, it's been a fun journey, and obviously things change with how we want that life to be for me and my family. But at the end of the day, I think that kid that wanted to have freedom and be there at the ball games, he still has the same goal to build that life, and I'm still working on it.
Right. I mean, but that's amazing. So even at 20, when you were looking at options in front of you in terms of
Mhm,
careers, paths you could go down to make money,
mhm.
because you can make money. What does Jay-Z say? Billion ways to make it, pick one.
Yeah.
So you looked at everything, and even at 20, you knew that you were gonna wanna have control over your time, flexibility, high income, and the ability
Mhm.
to be present as a father and a family man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. May I say quickly, kudos to your mom and dad. They did something good raising you that you had that level of insight to reflect on that and know that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I do credit them with a lot of it, coming to America, and, that's every immigrant child's
Mhm.
kind of upbringing. They see their parents who have done and sacrificed a lot in their lives to create their children's lives by design.
Right.
And so, I take a lot of inspiration for what I wanted to do as a father by looking at my parents and seeing how hard they made it for themselves so that they can be present and give us a better life. I think when I was younger, I resented them, or you know, wasn't their biggest fan
Mhm.
because of how hard they were on me and my siblings, how high expectations that they set on us, how high those expectations were. But I look back at it, and I mean, I think it's like you said, it's like one of the reasons why I was able to have that thought process like really, really early in, because they did not stop to remind me like, your mother and I killed ourselves to get here, and you can't slack. It's like
Right.
I
Yeah.
walked 20 miles to go to school. So what's waking up at 7 in the morning?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's really a blessing.
Mhm,
What a gift. So that's really
mhm,
cool. And I'm sure, as you have mentioned, that has probably woven its way into the choices you've made as you've built your business and your career. I
Yeah.
think it definitely shows up in the client experience and the customer service, your dedication not only to finding people that need and want your help, but also to then giving them an amazing experience in real estate
Hmm.
is it's really above average. It's excellent, right? So I'm
Hmm.
sure that their voices probably have snuck in there as well.
Yeah. All the time. All the time.
So take me back to you're 20 and you're like,
Hmm.
this real estate thing, I might give that a go. What did you do first?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think everyone's journey is a little bit different. Mine is, it's a funny one. So, like I said, I was in college at the time, and I was just getting in. You're a year and a half, 2 years into college. You're getting into your major courses. I was getting to business classes, um, and so I was working at a restaurant prior to that, and food delivery. And I was like, man, I want to do something to like build up my resume because I don't want to just have restaurant like server, cashier on my resume. So one of the things that I actually did was I actually went and I mean, this is really like knock on doors or do pop buys to businesses. I didn't really know how to get a job really like outside of just trying to figure it out. So I went to just offices just to kind of see what was available, insurance offices, like just any type of professional services business. And just so happened that the Keller Williams that I went to, Keller Williams Southwest in Sugarland, suburb out of Houston,
Mhm.
I'd asked, like, hey, are you guys, I asked the front desk, which is the weirdest thing, right? I asked front desk, I was like, hey, do you know anyone that's hiring here? Are you guys hiring? And uh, being naive, I didn't know how real estate worked, right? Like, there's a bunch
Right.
of little real estate businesses in the building,
Right.
and so the front desk was like, I don't know, maybe someone here is hiring, and it just so happened that I had a conversation with the team leader at the time, and she's like, you know what, I'll sit down with you for a little bit, and she pointed me in the direction of a broker, or an agent that was in the office with a team that was looking for an assistant. And so really that was my first experience. She was like, okay, well, I don't know what type of kid comes up to an office, drives to a bunch of offices and asks for a job, but I think that that kid is someone that's willing to learn. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
that's kind of my first step into it. I figured, well, I wanted any job that was in an office and sounded like it would look good on paper so I can eventually
Right.
get a better job. And I think that was my
Right.
original goal. Because at the end of the
Like
day,
a
I was like,
resume builder.
exactly, exactly. That
Yes.
was my original goal. And turns out, it's ended up being pretty fun. And when I was an assistant, I did a lot of the administrative work.
Mhm.
And so it was a lot of data entry. So my team, well, my rainmaker at the time, she was one of the marketer networkers. Like, that's all she did. She just rubbed shoulders with the right people. And so anytime that she would go out, I would come in, like, it'd be after the weekend, so let's say Monday, and she would have a stack of cards, maybe like
Right.
50 cards, and she would say, hey, okay, put this in top producer and send out thank you emails. And it would be every like 3 or 4 days, it would be the same exact thing. Put these 50 cards, put every single name, put every single email, send an email, and then I'm going to call them. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh, that's pretty easy. That seems like a really great thing. And it was pretty early into it that I don't know if anyone's a real big basketball fan at the time, but in 2015, um, that's when Dwight Howard, the
Yes.
star
Yes.
center, he's a free agent, moved down to Houston. He ended up buying a ranch from my team league, and
Wow.
it was I'm a huge basketball fan, and I
Yeah.
was I was so excited to have Dwight come down. So
Yeah.
it was pretty crazy to me that I was just a kid trying to I couldn't really comprehend a lot of this stuff. It was like cards, and then it ended up leading to being able to meet Dwight Howard and do all these different things, and not just Dwight Howard. Like, there's other very notable and affluent people that my team lead rub shoulders with because that's
Mhm.
just the type of business that she had. She had a luxury business, and she just knew a lot of people and was just like to meet a lot of people and connect with them. And so I thought to myself, I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I might sell a house to a basketball player one day.
Right.
And so what turned into that really just transformed into something like, okay, I think I could see myself doing this past just just a resume booster. And it was I was so naive at the time, seeing how easy it was. Easy at the
Yes.
time. Yeah, yeah. It's not really easy. It's not really easy because
Oh,
I'll get into that in a little bit. But seeing how easy it was, I figured, you know what? I'm not even happy doing college. So I immediately, because I was paying for college myself, I immediately after that semester, I just didn't sign up for any more classes, officially dropped out. None of my family was excited about all of that, but
right.
I'd seen enough in my head to know, okay, if I'm going to build the life that I want, and I see the life that my team lead has. I see the life that a lot of these other realtors have. And I see that a lot of these people, they enjoy what they do. They meet the people that they want to meet. And they come in when they want to come in. They leave when they want to leave. Sometimes they come in earlier than me. Sometimes they leave 5, 6 hours later than me, but they come in whenever and leave whenever. And that just seemed like the life that I wanted. So yeah, I ended up dropping out, and um, at the time, I got my license and all of that while being on our team. And when I dropped out, her and her husband got divorced, and the team split up like immediately. It all just kind. I don't even really know if like I've told you this
I
conversation.
don't. I didn't
Yeah,
know.
so immediately
So it's
it
like the
all
universe aligned and
it
opened.
yeah, it aligned and opened, and I thought, eventually I was gonna become an agent to work on her team. She had a buyer's agent that was working under her, but it ended up everything split. No buyer's agent, no admins, everyone left. And so I ended up just staying for a little bit, but I just decided to go to a different Keller Williams at the time and just kind of go out there and do it all on my own, which was a pretty scary thing because I was in this bubble of mine thinking, okay, well, business and making money is getting a bunch of names and getting those names and putting them in
And
the
top
database
producer.
in top
That's right.
producer and then emailing every single one of them with my team lead's name. So, hi, this is Joni. It was great meeting you last night at the Sweetwater Country Club gala.
Mhm.
Here's my info. Let me know if you need anything. And then they get put on a drip campaign. And that's all I thought life was because I never was out there at the country club, at the
Right.
galas.
Right.
I was never sitting at the table and working them. So I just thought, just get cards. Simple. And so whenever I ended up going full time, I was like, all right, so this is it. Now I get to finally build my career and sell a house to an athlete. And I was an agent and I thought to myself, okay, so where's the business cards? How do I get to the country club? Like, what do I do to get to the gala? I realized after all that happened that it was definitely not that simple at
Correct.
all. Like the cards don't just land in your lap and you don't have
Right, yeah.
some 20-year-old kid putting the cards in there for you because I was a 20-year-old kid. And so I had to really learn the hard way that, yeah, even though, this is the outcome could end up being a life by design, like how my rainmaker had her life. But there was a lot of messy middle and early
Correct.
beginnings that I had no idea she had experienced. I mean, she had been in the business for like 15 plus years, and I
Mhm.
did not realize that she was someone just like me who had to not just get cards, but figure out a way to meet the people to then make enough money to then afford a seat at the table and
Right.
to get invited to the charity golf games and
Yes.
whatnot. Yeah, that there was a lot of that I didn't realize, but I still knew at the end of the day, I could still that my life by design was there. And um I'm trying to go back to the question of like how does it all relate? Tell me about the beginning because when I think about where I'm at now and I think about why I've been so laser focused on getting to where I'm at now and still getting to maybe even where she was
Where you're
going to,
going. Yeah.
is that I worked for someone on someone's team that did do that. And I know what it's like to be a part of a someone's story well into their is with a family and with a thriving business, with a team. And so I think a lot of people don't really understand what that even looks like from the inside. But because I understood what it looked like from the inside, I understood for me, no matter what, it's possible. It's not just some
Yes.
pipe dream that I'm chasing. It's because I was there and I saw it and I experienced it. And so, it's something that I still think about and carry today, even though it was such a small piece of that team's puzzle,
Yes.
it's still something that I know has really shaped the way that I built, grew, and kind of retained the level of success that my business is at, really.
Are you still in communication with her?
I will be very honest with you, I am not.
Mhm.
It got really messy with the
Mhm.
divorce and whatnot. No, I mean, I see her on the side. She's grown her own brokerage. I'm happy with to see where she's at with her business, and also
Mhm.
happy with her ex-husband as well. They're all in the
Good.
business and doing their own thing, which is great.
Good. Okay. I wanna go back to
Mhm,
your around 22, 23,
mhm,
and you are your own solo agent,
mhm.
and you're learning that it's slightly more than getting business cards and putting them in top producer. Everyone who's a former top producer addict, put it in the comments, and you realize, wait a minute, there's more to this. What were some of the next steps that you took to get yourself off the ground as what I'll call a solo agent?
Yeah, I think there's tons of ways to really grow your business and make money in this business, and I think the first thing is I really wanted to try to figure out how can I get back in the circles. And I tried through a lot of different ways, charity work and philanthropy, tried through breaking into those circles
Mhm.
through other organizations, through doing luxury open houses. But I think at the time there was a lot of growing that I needed to do as a person. I was 20. It was me from 20 to 23. Um, I think there was a lot about myself that can be perceived as too green to anyone that was in those circles. So I just had a lot of failure in those areas, and I don't think that just because I was young, I had a lot of failure. I think because I didn't grow up in that world and I didn't know how to communicate in that world, so when I tried to be, RK from Southwest Houston, and it just didn't really sync up in the way that I wanted to. So what ended up happening was I ended up looking at it and I gave it maybe a couple months shot before realizing that I actually didn't enjoy being in that world because I not only did I not fit in, but I also didn't enjoy the things that were said, what things were
Mhm.
what things were being done. So I stepped back and I was like, what else do I want to do with my business? How do I want to grow my business? And I think Taylor Williams is great in the way, and I mean, there's a lot of other different brokerages that are really great, but Keller Williams for me at the time was really great in the way that it trained. And one of the
Absolutely.
one of the big things that they did training me in the 2010s is they had a very strong focus on prospecting and lead
Yes.
generation. And so when all the networking and the marketing in those different spaces didn't really work out for me, I ended up taking what a lot of people may have taken it. I ended up taking Bold,
Yes.
and I ended up having a coach in our productivity coach who was very prospecting heavy. And so Bold is also prospecting heavy. And so
Yes.
I I ended up making a ton of phone calls, a ton of cold calls, and I fell in love with it. And there was just
Yes.
something about the chase that I really enjoyed. And I do believe, and it was mostly calling expires. I mean, you can call
Hmm.
a ton of different things: expires, probate, pre-foreclosure, FISBOs. But for me,
Right.
what really stuck was expired listings. And so I think it was the chase of expired listings. I get to sit on my headset and have conversations all day. It was fun. It was fun, and it was very competitive. And I ended up having an office these early years. I ended up having an office right next to the top producing team. This is a new Keller Williams. I was still at Keller Williams, next to the top producing team who was all prospecting heavy,
Right.
and they got into the office 7 in the morning, made cold calls, they rang the bell, they said affirmations right before all the calls happened. They were that type of
They were in
environment.
it.
They
Yeah, I
were
love
in it.
that.
So,
Yeah,
I had my door open, ready, and we're all calling the same brand new fresh leads. And it was
that's
just a
right.
kind of fun environment. And I think I really fed on that level of competition because I was an early 20s kid at the time. I mean, not really kid, but in the grand scheme of things, I was a kid,
Yes.
and I was going on these really high pressure listing appointments, having these really tough phone calls against people that have been this for years.
Hmm.
Yeah, it I didn't win nearly as much as the big dogs did, but I did win.
But you
And I did win
won.
it.
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
I did win a couple deals. Just that feeling of winning as the kid against the team that has 5, 6 people calling with hundreds of deals, 100 plus listings at a time, and then being the one to be chosen. It was just kind of something that really, really made me feel I can be. It empowered me. I guess I could say
Yeah.
that. It empowered me,
It
and it
built your
made me say,
confidence
yeah.
that you could do it.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So I would say it took me a while to really like I share like what I ended up finding, but it took me maybe about a year after going into the business after the leaving my rainmaker to really figure out, okay, this is what I want to do.
And I want to share with anyone who may not know. So, an expired listing is someone who had their home listed for sale. It did not sell in the period that they had agreed upon with that agent, and then it is off the market. And so you're coming in as the second agent to get up at bat and get the property sold. And that's something that I've been passionate about as well, as you know, my entire career since 98, because I think you and I both share a passion of truly wanting consumers to have a great experience. It doesn't mean that we can solve everything every time, right? But there's also that part of it. So you started winning and you started getting your confidence. And I'm sure that you had energy and enthusiasm while you were doing that, which the clients that chose you could perceive. I know that they felt this guy is going to be able to do it. And then you had that benefit of you were truly helping people that had been through an incredibly disappointing and frustrated time. So that also feeds your psyche of like, I'm really helping people. I am making a difference.
But yeah,
So that's remarkable in itself. So you get your feet under you and you're taking listings and then you have past clients. What would you say was that next stage in your life by design? Which, if I may add, is also part of that bold training program, is that you're not only learning how to do it, but you're really thinking about your whole life and what you want it to be like. So what was sort of like the next chapter that stands out to you?
next chapter in, I mean, essentially building the life by design. I think, but the first one is figuring out like what I wanted to do, which was doing the expired, so like really being prospecting heavy because, like you said, I have the ability to help people and thriving on the idea that I can fix someone's problem. Essentially, fix someone's problem and kind of turn their perception of what a realtor is, what this
Yes.
business is like, completely around. But that was an amazing part of it. Now, the next part was really trying to grow and scale and impact people in a different way. So I think there's two reasons that someone would grow a real estate business, and one is to I mean, essentially just not work as much. I think that's like one way, like not work as much, so that way they can buy themselves a little bit of freedom. And then I think another way is really just to find a way to impact more people and see have other people grow with you. So for me, that's what I wanted to do. I was on a team, and that's how I succeeded. And I saw
Right.
that just from the little experience that I had, which was, I mean, it was nothing really in how long my career was, how much that impacted me. So I wanted to start growing a team, and I ended up having a another agent join my business with me, and that was really my next step to create something that wasn't just RK Rasos selling houses. It
Right.
was, create a brand and create an identity, and let that be what we all work under. So really just creating that company past just me. And so I had another agent join on, and it was a couple of really great years. It was tough to partner with another agent because we would clash on personalities. We had very different businesses, but I think we balanced each other really well at the time.
Right.
And I credit a lot of like my growth as a leader and a partner, and the team's growth to a lot of those times early in. And I think that was from really 2017 to, a couple years after that, um, starting with just an agent who partnered on, and from there, scaling up where it wasn't just an agent. We then had transaction coordinator who then started to help with contracts as we got busier, as we started closing, 30 plus each. And then after that, we had to take on an assistant who would
Right.
then cover a lot of our administrative roles. And then from the assistant, it starts to scale up into having an ISA, which is essentially a person that makes the calls for us, or not for us, but with us.
With you.
And
Right.
yeah, and we start just growing that way, and growing each arm of our business it, in different areas. So we say, okay, well, we have another agent, so that's growing another, like it's a redundancy, right? To have multiple rainmakers, CEOs, but it's growing the bench of who else can lead with me,
Mhm.
and then growing the transaction side, which is like more administrative. But I think in real estate, we really kind of put transaction in its own lane, really. Listing management, transaction, buyer contracts, all that good stuff. Growing
Right.
that side where they can just handle all of the contracts and the paperwork, the administrative and the operational arm, and then the sales arm where we have people making calls and doing marketing for us, and just really branching out and learning not to just be a a hustler who knows how to make phone calls and just
That's right.
is first to show up and last to leave, but to growing to be a business person. Because at the core of it, what I saw and what I really wanted was I wanted to be able to have the life where I was making an impact in some type of way and letting people grow with us. But also, again, what teenager RK wanted was to have something where I could have the freedom where if I wanted to be present in my family's lives or to travel for X amount of time, I could do that
Yes.
without any risk of my clients and my business suffering.
That's right.
And I think in hindsight, if I would go back and just have a different fork of where my business would be and just kind of do it on my own and not really grow the team, I could guarantee that I probably would have a lot more money.
Mhm.
I would have a lot more money. But I could also guarantee that there are a lot of people, a lot of team members that joined on with us, a lot of agents, businesses that we've helped grow. Maybe they would have grown it in some type of way, but I do know that there's a lot of positive impact that we created by having those people on. And even though I personally didn't make as much money as I probably could have if I didn't really focus on taking as many people on to grow this journey with us, I was able to build my life by design by being able to buy myself freedom through those years in a really tough time. and also being able to help a lot of other people grow their businesses and their lives, which is, I mean,
Correct.
that's all I can ask for, to look back and say, okay, well, I'm grateful that I was a part of these people's journeys.
And that you're exactly right. There could be someone that you've inspired and touched in their development that is sharing their story of being on your team with somebody else right now. So
Yeah, yeah.
you did have an impact. I would also say that during that time, could you have made more money? Yes, very strongly, probably. I don't even know if that phrase makes sense. However, you get what I mean.
I no, I get what you mean. Yeah.
And yet I feel as if you learned so much about yourself, what you want, what you don't want, what your strengths are, how to increase efficiency, make decision making under pressure. You learned
Mhm,
so much through all of that.
mhm.
When I think about where you're sitting at the age of 30, I almost feel as if that education, that clarity in your mind, I'm gonna go so far as to say I think that was worth the investment.
Yeah. I I would too. I just gotta add a lot of context to it, just because, I mean, you and I, we've had these conversations, but very costly to have made the decisions that I've made. And
Mhm.
so I just to really go into the numbers, I had a team, and I think this is a lot of people's story when they grow a real estate business or even any
Right.
business in general. We had some really good years, and I think for a lot of people, real estate especially, their good years were from 2020 to 2022. And
Mhm.
those good years, I worked a ton, I traveled a ton, I spent a ton, and the team was doing really well. I think at a time we would always have at least 3 to 4 other agents. We'd have administrative staff. So, we were running anywhere between like 7 to 11 people that worked directly for me and with me, directly with me, I'll say. And there were a lot of people that were weighing down the ship,
Yeah.
and it was costly, and it hurt not only me but some of the other members on the team. And coming out of it, when things really were affected, I look back at what it's left, and we're talking half of the book of my business gone. We're talking 6 figures in debt. But we're talking a lot of different things that had come out of that as we got into 23. And at the time, I was like, "Man, this." So, and not only that, and just to get a little personal, um, the you know, I was in a long term relationship that had then ended, essentially
Right.
divorce, house, all that other stuff is kind of like what I had experienced, and a lot of it, I was feeling a lot of regret about what I'd done in 23. But now that we get through these years, and all of the things that I'd learned, 23 to now, from having to start over my business and kind of rebuild, to having to move in with my parents and then move into this house that I'm in right now, which happened to be one of my rental homes
Rentals,
because of
right.
all these different things that had happened. Am now in a position where I could say all the things that I've learned, it sucked, but I would not trade it for the world where I'm at
That's
right
right,
now.
yeah.
And I would
Yeah.
not trade it for the world, because I do believe that if I hadn't experienced this, that the shoe was going to drop somewhere else. And
Yes.
I would have rather it all come down on me than to be 10 years down the line and I've got 2 kids, a wife, a portfolio, giant staff of 15, 20
Yeah.
people, and it fell on everyone else except me. And that's why I'm grateful that it happened at this point, well, a couple years now, that I got to learn from that, not really hurt as many other people in the process other than myself, and now get to rebuild. and carry those experiences so that way I'm not making some of the same mistakes and
Right.
I'm able to truly lead not only my business, but every aspect of my life completely differently than
Right.
I would if I hadn't experienced something
All of
so,
that.
yeah, something
Yes.
so, I don't even know how to put the word, so catastrophic, I guess.
Yeah.
Not catastrophic, I would just say shifting in my life. Like,
Cataclysmic.
yeah, something
Some
along those
cata
lines.
word, right?
Cata.
Yeah, and it's incredible through all of that, you kept going.
Mhm.
Incredible financial hardship, figuring out how to restructure, digging out of debt, moving into one of your rentals. Thank goodness you had rentals.
Yeah, yeah.
If I may share, I believe you've also rediscovered love in your personal life.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Now I'm engaged again.
Engaged again, right? And you're moving forward. So I want to
Mhm.
take a minute real quick because this applies, I believe, outside of real estate as well. One thing that in my 27 years in real estate, also doing a variety of team incarnations of all types. One of the hardest to maintain profitably is a two-headed partnership. It is one of the toughest to navigate or have with longevity. Are there some? Of course, Hoffman Murphy, there's some out there that make it. I'm not saying it's impossible. And frankly, in terms of what's happening in our industry right now, there is, and I'm sure you've heard about this, there's a return to what I call solo agent with licensed staff. So there's a lot of agents where they're the main one doing all of the selling and the work that requires a license as an agent, and they have staff, and some of the staff's licensed. And so in terms of profitability, that's huge. And we don't need to get too sidetracked, but of course, MR gold standard. If you are looking at launching a sales team, so it doesn't matter what you're selling. This book
Mhm.
happens to specialize in real estate, really goes into a lot of the factors in terms of deciding how you're going to structure things. But back to you, I feel like you're starting this next decade of your life in a position where you know that you're the captain of your destiny and that you are really embracing that bold concept of creating your life by design.
Yeah,
When you
definitely.
look at the coming decade and the business you're building, what would you like to share around that?
Yeah, so the I think the core of it, it's still the same, right? Be present for my family. And I did have at the time, in my 20s, I did have a little bit of a different perspective on how I was going to be present. And I think in my 20s, I was not present in all of my relationships with friends, family, romantic partner, because I wanted to be present later. And I think that took an effect on a lot of different things. And so now heading into my 30s, the biggest thing is to be present for as much as possible and having a life by design, not just later, but now
Today,
and today and throughout. I think when you're young, or when I was young, maybe it's different for other people. When I was young, I thought that I can take over the world. I thought I'd be on Forbes 30 under 30. Like I think you believe that you are much. I mean, you are capable of a lot of things, but you think that you're going to be so much bigger than you actually are when it takes a minute to really realize like what's actually important for me, for you, for anyone.
right?
And I guess what I realized was important was not necessarily the big giant goal of being on stage, but it was really to just be there for me and everyone around me. And so it's still creating impact and changing lives, but just in a different way. And so I guess an example for this year or even this past year, I used to, in real estate, strive to push to close maybe 20 mil in sales. And that was kind of the benchmark for us, 21, 22. And in 20 it was like 15, 21 it was 18, 22 it was 20 mil. That's a lot of sales, and it was a lot of time. And not that we're not pushing for that as a goal, but I could this year I wanted to focus on taking time off
Right.
and focusing on my health and all the other things that are important to me. And I think I traveled for a month. I travel maybe
Yeah.
4 to 6 times out of the year. I take long weekends, and I never used to do that. And I still, you know, can't go on everything that I want to go on this nowadays. But for sure, I go on at least 2 to 3 times more vacations.
Right. You do.
I take way more time off. I don't work as late as I normally do because back, 20 to 22, I was in the office before 7. I got to the gym at 5 to 5:30, so I can be in the office at 7, and I didn't get home till maybe 7 or 8, and that really depended on if I had an appointment, and I worked on Saturday. Mostly, I would work on Sunday sometimes. So, I was pushing a lot of time, and now at this point, I think I'm probably averaging closer to about 50 to 60 hours a week,
Hmm.
which is much less than what it normally was, and I travel way more often.
A
So
lot
that's
more.
something that I wanna focus on, and it's okay, if I don't break the world and do all these different things because what's more important to me is that now my nieces and nephews know my name. You know,
Yeah.
that was like it was heartbreaking to me that I'd missed, you know, 5 or 6 years of those kids' lives, my family, and just seeing a lot of the different things that I miss, my friends' lives, the weddings that I'm not invited to because I just kind of sacrificed a lot within my business, and now just trying to rebuild those different things. I don't want to be the guy that's just working all the time,
Right.
that's
Right.
successful. And I thought that was the cool thing, to be the cool uncle that was really rich and wore nice suits and drove the nice car and was just never really around. But it wasn't really like the actual life by design. So I kind of lost sight of that, and I'm really just trying to focus on getting back to that. And that's gonna deal with, again, growing the team. That's gonna deal with being more efficient with my time. That's gonna deal with multiplying my time by doing things that I'm a little bit uncomfortable with within our business, like content and doing all these different things to leverage the little time that I have because I am dedicating more to other things. Because I think at the end of the day, I could probably easily get back to that level of business that I had, but it would not be worth what it would cost. And that's not a life by design. I mean, that's a good life, but not by my standards.
That's right. Yeah. Not in alignment with your
Yeah.
values. And what stands out to me, and it will come. I know you
Hmm.
know that as well. You can have the production goals that you want with what you're doing by getting uncomfortable and adding in your video marketing, adding in a little slight different structure in who you're talking to every day. You can
Right.
create efficiencies and you can still hit the goals.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
it'll take 10 months to 16 months longer. Okay. What's amazing to me is now your nieces and nephews and any other family that may have been annoyed with you, now they're not seeing you as the realtor. They're seeing you as the uncle, the brother, you know, son, the whatever, the fill in the
Mhm.
blank. And the other people that you can impact in the industry are still seeing you, and they're seeing you through what you're doing with video marketing and with how you carry yourself and how you lead your team and your business. So it's I think that's cool. I think that your family's going to see you as family and everyone else can see you as the realtor.
Yeah.
It's great. And you are right. I can tell you need to be on guard to keep an eye on making sure it doesn't creep back in. I believe that you have had a watershed moment where it's not going to creep back in. And if it does, I believe it will be by choice for a season. You may do a full court press for 8 weeks, but it's not ever going to get out of
Right.
control again. I want to ask you, RK, anyone young out there that 18, 19, 22, and they are sitting there thinking, I wanna get into real estate. You and I both know there's gonna be pushback. People are gonna tell
Yeah.
them, "You're too young, you can't do it, that you won't make money, you're not gonna have a regular pay." They're gonna get all kinds of pushback. What would you say to them?
See, it's in your head. It is more in your head than anyone else's. I'll be honest. So I mean, I'd say the wasn't the person I needed to be at the time when I was younger to do luxury and to be in that space. But it wasn't really because I was young. It was because I had a young mindset. And I I thought that everyone was out to get me because I was young. But the reality is no one really cares if you're young, if you're smart. In fact, I believe that it's still now. I am still young when I go out to compete for listings. I'm still the young guy. I'm most of the time still 20 years younger than most of the people that I compete against. So I'm still seen as the young person. I'm no younger. I'm not seen any younger than someone that's 20. I'm still young.
Right.
And so the only thing that's different that allows me to win is the fact that I'm confident and that I know what I'm talking about. So if you are young, you're 18, 19, 20, all you really got to do is just focus on getting smart and focus on the strengths in the areas that you need to, because as soon as you have those, you'll gain the confidence to really win people's trust over. Think about it now. Now is really the perfect time because most people have zero clue about technology, about the new age of marketing, the AI, how it's utilized, and even the older people that are in the space, even people that are 20, 30 years your senior that are going on appointments, even if they do know that, there is going to be this perception that by you being younger, you will still be smarter than them when it comes
In
to the
that
new way to sell and market. That is a superpower. Honestly, I was in my early 20s whenever anyone had an objection about my age, I would tell them the people that are my age are the ones that are buying the houses now.
right,
That's
right.
that's the only thing that matters. So if you want to sell your house to someone that's actually buying a house, I mean,
You need
Gen
me.
Z and millennials are the new people that are buying homes. There are less boomers that are buying homes. So I don't know why you would not want to have someone that's an expert in that. And the conversation is still the exact same. And so
That's right.
if you can make that thing that makes you feel weak and makes you feel like you have a disadvantage, if you could turn that into a strength, or at least
Absolutely.
make someone, because it always is going to be strength, at least make someone believe it in the way that you should believe it, then I mean, you'll actually win a lot more conversations. And honestly, the people that won't hire you, they're already not going to hire you
They're already not
at
gonna
the end
hire
of the
you.
day.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
Exactly
yeah.
right.
So you just push and be true to your strengths.
Well, I have a nugget of information for
Mhm.
you. You're actually 29 years younger than the average real estate agent. In our industry right now, the
Really?
average realtor is 59 and female. We
Wow.
have, out of all industries tracked in America, we have one of the highest average ages in the industry.
Hmm.
So
Well,
you're still the
that's
young guy.
I am still the young guy. I know that. I know I'm still the young guy. Nothing has really changed other than I guess I got a little facial hair, but that's it.
So if someone wanted to reach out to you, and I'm going to have all your contact information in the description, but some people are just listening, not watching. What's the easiest way to reach out to you?
I would say there's two ways to reach and find me. My Instagram handle is going to be at RKRASOS, and the YouTube as well as Instagram handle for my business is at Community Warriors, RE, R as in real, E as in estate.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts you want to share?
No, this is exciting. I'm glad to be on here. It's always good to, I guess, just share the story because it makes me really think about what keeps me going. And I don't really sit back and reflect on all those. So I appreciate you having me on because it's got given me a lot to think about because we never even like went over what we'd be talking about. But man, it's awesome to look back and
It
see how
really
far we've
is, and
gone.
I mean, I just hope that you do take a moment, and but neither one of us, are ones to sit around patting ourselves on the back. I'd say you and I have some commonalities. We're very action-oriented, and we are
Mhm,
very externally oriented, focused on our clients, right? You know, like, we share some of that. And it isn't often that we sit back. And I just hope that you take this evening or this weekend and just celebrate what you've accomplished in these 10 years because I guarantee that you've inspired people that took the time to listen to this, that want to get into the industry and they want to create change and control for their life. And they're going to see what you did by the time you were 30 and they're going to be really excited about it. I have one last question for you that I want to
mhm,
ask. RK, you
mhm,
mentioned early on, we're going all the way back to the beginning, that when you dropped out of college to pursue real estate full time,
mhm.
I don't think your parents were too thrilled, family wasn't too thrilled. How do
No,
your
no.
parents feel now, seeing you today as a, a 30-year-old and what you've accomplished?
It's funny, and I think a lot of people that have a similar journey where they've dropped out or changed professions get the same thing. My parents still ask me all the time when I'm going to go back to college, but I think it's not done in a way where they're as worried and they're like, "Oh,
Mhm,
you're going to go back to college? That's so great," which is great. Um, it did take me a while for my parents to really feel a bit more comfortable with me being in this position. And I think it's seeing how much business we done. And I think it's really whenever I had staff and was really making a bit more of a larger impact as opposed to
mhm.
just being here alone selling houses.
But they're proud of you.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
I know they are. Yeah, they're really proud of you. Well, thank you so much for being a guest, and I really hope that you will come back and join us again on the interstate. And any of you that are watching, please feel free to reach out, and I hope that you'll come back and watch the next episode of the interstate as well. Thank you so much.